Welcome to the Inspired Action Podcast. This is where we have motivational, inspiring conversations and interviews that we hope you'll enjoy listening to.
Join us and other inspired actioneers on this alchemical, transformational journey.
Welcome to the Inspired Action Podcast. This is Pod 141. My name is Jay, and I'm here with my co-host, as always, with the mostest, the hostess, Leta Herman.
Welcome back, Inspired Actioneers. We are back with some more stone medicine today because after our amazing conversation with Mikhail Oscarson in our last episode.
Yay. You should check it out if you haven't heard it. He was great.
Yes, definitely.
And he's going to be teaching a class with us in the Learning Center on stone medicine, Alchemy Stone Medicine.
Yes.
And it was really great to hear his perspective on many different things. And we're going to do some deep dives. But today, we just wanted to talk a little bit about Alchemy Stone Medicine and what it means to us right now.
Yeah, more from the perspective of why stone medicine? Why are we so excited about this?
Well, I always want to know the why before the how. That's my philosophy on just about everything that I like to learn.
Yeah, and I thought we'd start out with a really big picture perspective. You know, humanity really needs optimal health to fulfill our lessons of this lifetime. And so when we're not feeling great, we often look to the outer world for help. And the oldest medicine of the world came from the earth itself, from the minerals we could dig out of the earth, from the stones and the dirt and the plants that grew around us, plus the food we ate, including animal-based diets. So the natural, the material world around us was often where we turned to help us feel better.
Sure. And it was an exploration, a journey. And I think as, people learned over time, they just kind of went to nature to try to figure things out. We're still doing that. And I think stone medicine, as we had mentioned before, is one of the oldest medicines known to humankind. It's ancient. Think about it. Stones, crystal minerals, all the things that you just mentioned, they have seen it all throughout the history of time on this planet.
Yes.
Stones, they're here and they're not going away and they're not in a hurry.
I really like to think of it that way, that the stone as a personality has seen like so much of time pass.
All our crap, right?
Yes.
We think we're so like, woohoo, we're so
Yes.
civilized and cultures. No.
Yes.
The stones are like, you're little babies, like little tiny
Yes.
babies on the planet.
Tiny babies still sucking our thumbs as far as they're concerned. And, also modern pharmacology, we're often seeing the use of minerals in a lot of the medicines we take. Things like magnesium, aluminum, gypsum, mica, pyrite, they're all being used in FDA-approved medicines. So
also fluoride, fluoride.
in toothpaste.
Stones,
yeah. So stone medicine is something we're using without even realizing it. And when we're taking a lot of our Western medicine drugs. So we're already doing stone medicine. And so we're doing that because we want to feel better. But in alchemy, we would call this a prop, meaning it's something from the outside that we're bringing in that we believe will help us shift something internally, an internal dynamic inside us. Ideally, we would learn to shift our energetics inside ourselves by ourselves. But we get stuck and we look to the outside world to fix it.
Yeah, and I think also transformation is the word that I like to think about this too. How are we transforming? Why are we evolving? And that's what we're going to talk about with the stones and alchemy. But I think that's great. No judgment. You can take what you want, do what you want. If it helps you internally to help shift your external, that's your choice. I mean, I take magnesium at night to sleep, for like a mineral thing. Do I need it? Probably not.
Yeah.
But does it help? Maybe a little. I think it's kind of, we get into these habits.
Yeah.
If you think about, toothpaste with fluoride, it's good, it's bad, it's good, it's bad. So I don't know. I think that those are the things that we need to think about. And well, wait, Leta, before that gets going on, all of this really cool stuff, let's talk about what's going on in the alchemylearningcenter.com.
Well, if you're listening to this live, when it gets first posted in April, we are excited to, as Jay mentioned earlier, announce our Alchemy Stone Medicine program starting on May 6th, actually. And so, you're welcome to come join us. So if you're listening At this
Maybe
point,
you've time traveled back to April 2025,
yes,
just before May 6th,
yes,
and you want to jump in.
yes, for
There's
all the time travelers out
right.
there.
We
And
we welcome that.
yes, and so we'll put a link in the show notes of where you can go read more about that. And so we're really excited to be offering that. We've had a couple webinars. We had our interview with Mikhail. We're just super excited about
Yeah.
Alchemy Stone Medicine right now.
And I think that if you're on our email list or if you listen to this podcast, go get on our email list. We're sending out emails all the time. We have some really cool bonuses that we're throwing in, and we're going to see how this goes. We have some people already signed up. We're really excited. And I think that I just want to get this information out to as many people that is possible, especially alchemists, people who are studying alchemy. I think stone medicine, the way that we're looking at it, is just going to enhance and boost and work on your self cultivation and work on your self healing through the understanding that the stones and the crystals and the gemstones and the minerals, they're our allies, they're our friends, they're our companions.
I like that idea of enhancing and boosting. I think that's really the theme of today's podcast is, we really want to talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah. And wait, I also want to announce that we have our new Ghost Point book out.
Yay,
It's
our
coming
new
out
Ghost
any day. It's already done and
Point.
approved.
It's
And
looking great.
yeah, so that'll be coming up on Amazon or wherever you buy your books, Barnes and Noble,
Yes.
whatever, like even the local bookstore. We pop up there all the time. So just go and find it. And we're going to just, have some special things. Probably on the next podcast, we'll announce some bonuses for that. But
Yeah.
I just think that if you could take a second and do a rate and review on the podcast, if you like any bit of this podcast or any of the other podcasts, I think 141. So if you like any of the 140 podcasts, please take a second, rate
Yes.
and review. Give us a quick little
Yes.
notice on wherever you listen, but we Apple, Google, Spotify. It just helps other people find this podcast. And that's what
Yeah.
this is all about, is to get this information out in this, I don't know, really cool way of looking at life. That's our opinion, of course, but that's what we really like to talk about.
All right, so let's go back to our show.
Back to the show. They don't call them shows. They call them
I think they
podcasts.
call them, yeah. All right, well,
Back to the pod.
back to the pod. All
Yeah.
right, so let's get back to stones. And generally just starting with this idea that they're really slow in terms of their energetics. So they encourage long-term changes. So they're not always these things that you're going to go to when, you have a sharp pain or
Although
something.
there are
They're
stones that you can
they're
for acute
definitely
and different things. Yeah.
yes, but to really look at the ancientness of stones, and
Is that a word?
I don't
Ancientness.
know, but
But
it
I like
should
it.
be. Yes.
I like it.
Yes.
Ancientness.
Yeah, and this idea that they're kind of just asking us when we're in their presence to kind of come down to their energetic level, which is good. We all need to kind of slow it down a little
Yeah,
bit,
you could
maybe.
slow down. I always like to reference this meditation that I love to do. It's called the Tibetan head roll, and it's the permission to move at a glacial pace. And I think that makes me always connect with the stones and the thought about, we're in a hurry. Our lives are so chaotic and rushed and hurried, and we're just inundated with social media and news and drama and all these things as being humans in this world. And the stones are just there,
Yeah.
and somehow we've gotten to them. Either they've been mined or shaped or cut or found, and now they're in our life. And so we're just going to talk a little bit about how we can deepen our relationship with those.
Yeah, and they love to sort of see us not worry so
Right.
much.
They
Like
like to be, don't worry, be happy.
yes. Yes, like, the lithium that's found in
Oh,
kunzite, Jay.
which I'm
You
wearing
have
right
some?
here.
Yeah,
I'm wearing a little
awesome.
kunzite right
Beautiful
there.
stone, really gorgeous for
It's
anyone
my
who's
happy stone.
yes, it is a happy
I give
stone.
it to a lot of people. It makes me
Mhm.
happy. And it's
Yeah.
got a little bonus, right? Little friends with benefits.
Ye Oh.
Hey, just keep it clean. I'm just saying it helps me. I help it. We're on a journey together. And
Yeah.
that's what this is about. Building relationships and with your stone friends, as you like to say, they call them stone friends, your allies. They're, on the journey with you. So what stones are you attracted to? Which stones do you feel inspired to connect with when you walk into a gem store? You want to touch some or look at some of them. What are interesting to you? We've talked about this in the last podcast with Mikhail about colors and shapes and feelings. So
Yeah.
you got to just kind of like be creative, be curious, and see if there's a stone or two or three or four out there that you want to start to have a relationship with.
Yeah. And as with any form of medicine, we, the practitioners of that medicine, need to find a way to understand our natural world. So we love to categorize things so that we can kind of utilize them in more useful ways. So there are many, many ways to categorize stones in particular,
There's just so many ways. I
like
mean,
color and shape.
yes.
And even like the material makeup of them, how they were formed in the earth. There's so many ways to look at them, and they're all valid.
And you can also like use combinations. You can put them on points, meridians, on chakras. You can grid. You can do elixirs. It just you can wear them as like a talisman. There's so many different things, and so I always like to. And also, one of the things I really like to talk about is how we relate it to the five elements. So we're going to talk a
Yeah.
little bit about that
Yeah. And
today.
so much of this podcast has been about the five elements. So why don't we go through just real quickly? What are the colors of the stones that relate to the five element
Well,
theories?
it's similar to like how you would pick on the chakras as well. So if you go to, you start with wood, of course, right? So you can go a green or a blue green. A lot of like my favorite wood stone is emerald. Okay, we're going to talk maybe a little bit later about beryls, but red goes to fire, yellow to earth, white or black to metal, and blue to water. So it's very similar. It's not like we're going off, off the rails on this theory. It's the same pretty much color theory of the five elements, just we could connect it with stones for
Yeah. And
sure.
if you've been listening to this podcast for a while, you might already have a pretty good idea of what element you are. So you can ask yourself, am I attracted to those stones that correspond to my element? Or maybe, am I attracted to some other color that might bring in something I feel like I'm lacking?
Right.
Like maybe you're trying to increase your wealth right now and you're not wood, but you might be attracted to the green stones or the blue green stones because green relates to wood, which relates to the wealth
Hey, think about it.
palace.
Green, right?
Yeah.
Money, 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 green,
Yeah.
right? Although that's probably going extinct soon
Yeah.
and probably won't have money as we know it. So
Yes.
green will be replaced with gold, like Bitcoin gold. I'm
There you
just
go.
joking.
There
But
you
like
go.
for now, we'll stick with the
Uh,
green.
yeah.
So yeah,
And
and
this goes back to the nine palaces, which we've also talked about on this podcast, how they relate to the five elements. And so, yeah, wealth palace is what we're talking about in that case.
And then we could take it to the next step, which is, we have color. So now we could talk about shapes. And again, we're just going kind of basic here. We're just giving you a little thought, some things to think about. So wood
I
is
think the shapes are fascinating, actually.
really,
I don't think a lot of people know that there are five element shapes.
wow. Well, here we go. So wood is the triangle.
Yeah.
Okay. Fire is the diamond, which is a triangle, then put down. Or the rhombus. Some people call it rhombus. That's kind of like a rumpus, a little rumpus room, right? Figures it's for fire, right?
For fire.
Earth is a square, metal is a rectangle, and water is hexagonal or circular.
Yeah.
Hexagonal. That's a tough
Yeah.
word for me. I don't know why, but water is the hexagonal or circle, right?
Yeah.
It's really the only one in for circle is water stone.
Yeah. And we can really think of this as a basic crystal structure that's corresponding to those shapes, right, Jay?
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. So yeah, they all have basic crystal structures that correspond with each one of the shapes. So again, you can go down and down and down, but that might not necessarily be how you pick a stone.
Yeah.
You might, when you start to make a recipe for someone or something that you're working on, then you might look at some of the structures and the shapes. But I just like to, have the basics in your mind of what they look like
Yeah.
and how they're formed and where they're from. How far down inside the earth do they come from?
Yeah, it's like, are they from the molten rock? Are they, from that magma? Are they
Yeah.
really, really old rocks?
Are
Like,
they formed from the accumulation of sediment, like the
yeah,
sedimentary stones?
yeah,
So yeah, and then there's high temperatures, and then there's other just transformational. Those are the metamorphic kind of
yeah.
stones. We can go on, but
Which, of course, we'd be really interested in from an
absolutely,
alchemical point of
sure.
view. Yeah,
I think we used a lot of the metamorphic stones in our work. I mean, it's a combination that I like to think about.
yeah. So we can look at how they're formed and how they play a role in medicine based on how they were born, basically.
Sure.
So today, Jay, we're really asking, why stone medicine?
Why not? It's fun. You get to collect cool things. You get to use them. They get to get out in the world.
Yes.
No, it's fun.
Yes, but
I'm
in
joking
in
a
the
little.
realm of alchemy and healing, why are stones so truly unique?
Well, I think that, fundamentally, they're crystal structures. All beings have that. The structures appear to be influenced by other crystal structures. So I always feel like we're on the path of evolution. If you're doing alchemy, you're on the path of transformation. You're trying to evolve. You're trying to move things in your life. And so using stones to assist that, that's pretty kind of cool, if you
Yeah.
ask me. You know,
It's almost like that idea that, if you put something next to water, it kind of starts to take on the
change, right? It
properties.
changes the structures. It
Yes.
influences the water, and I
And
think
we're made up of water.
totally like what
So,
almost all of it is water,
yeah,
right? And
so much of our
and like here's
bodies
a
are
water
water.
stone, right?
Yep.
The aquamarine. I love to show this one, but I think that you can only just kind of like vibrationally they can influence the energy fields. We talk about the heart and the tendrils of the heart and how the vibration of the stones can influence our energy fields in our
Yep.
bodies. And
Yep.
I think that obviously they promote healing within.
Yeah.
Okay, and that doesn't mean
Yeah.
the ingestion of them. I think it's the vibrations
Yep.
that kind of like if you
Pl-
think about vibration sound healing
Yeah.
with stones,
Right.
it's that combination of, what is your intention, and if you understand the qualities and the strengths of the stones, then you can use them as allies.
Yeah, so it's not just ingesting, it's also placing them on our bodies, placing them in
Absolutely.
our environments. But it's vibrational, which is the essence of acupuncture and Chinese medicine in general. So we're really in the realm of acupuncture. So if you've already said to yourself, "Oh, I really love acupuncture," then stone medicine is right there alongside that.
Yeah, and we always say that the first acupuncture needles were made out of stone,
Yeah.
beyond stone, probably
Yes.
jade as well, but beyond
Yes.
stone. So yeah, I
Yes.
think that from the physical standpoint, it's like drinking an herb concoction or an elixir. We call the stone usually elixirs, but you could call them all kinds of different things:
Yeah.
gem waters,
Yeah.
elixirs. I'm sure they call them concoctions if that's what you've been taught.
Or grind them up and put them on your body like a poultice or
Yes,
a salve.
mixed with another base.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that you could just go on and on and on with the stone medicine. And
Yeah.
if you do ingest like an herb, it would react to your digestive system. It would react on the internal.
Yeah.
We do a lot of elixirs for different symptoms and different challenges. I'm going to
Yeah.
say.
So if you understand vibrational medicine, it's easy to see that stones bring like a whole different level of healing possibilities by introducing to your system some kind of catalyst for change. And that's alchemy. That's what we're looking at.
It's ancient alchemy for
Yeah,
sure.
it is the original intent of the alchemists who were chemists. And so,
Chemists on a bad day could blow some fish up.
yes, they really
That's
could.
why they had big cauldrons so they could blow a lot of shit up and
Yes.
then drink it. But
Yes, yes, and they
yeah,
were trying to create elixirs of eternal life.
I'm sure some of them succeeded, right? The immortals, right?
Yeah, they were legendary.
And
That's what they were about.
And so, I just want to say that's the foundation of that we're talking about for Alchemy Stone Medicine, but that's not the why. Those are
Mm,
like the scientific-ish kind of feelings, but I'm going to talk about the spiritual, the
yes.
evolution that we have kind of been doing through Master Jeffrey Yuen about how to apply it into our self-cultivation, our self-healing, and then
Yeah,
take the knowledge from the ancient alchemists, put it into this modern-ish
yeah.
concept, and then see how it can work on meditations and self-cultivation and self-healing.
Yes, I
That's
love
really
that.
what I'm interested in.
Yes, because we can wear it, we can put it in our environment. I mean, imagine if you could go live in a crystal cave,
Yeah, that's really
a
cool.
room full of crystal stones. I mean, that would
It could be a
have
little overwhelming. I mean,
yeah.
maybe you could rotate them out. I know they have like the big amethyst mats, and they have like, salt crystal rooms and
Yeah.
different things. I mean, there's some giant stones that I've seen in Tucson where it would be super cool to have them. Some people are doing whole rooms with Sugnite.
Yeah.
and black tourmaline and stuff like that. So also rose quartz. I mean, so different vibrations, different things, different
Yeah.
ways to
Or even
heal.
some people have built labyrinths with stones, and they're so powerful. The geometric shapes that they're using to build these
Well, that would be the
labyrinths, and
sacred geometry, right?
yeah, and then to feel, we've stood in them to feel the amazing vibration of standing in the middle of a lot of
Yeah, that was really
stones.
cool. But yeah, and I just think that those are the things that I'm interested in. Taking stone medicine and all the knowledge that you can absorb at your own pace, at your own level, and then putting it into self-cultivation, self-healing, and for those around you too.
Yeah.
Even your animals, your animal companions, they can benefit from that.
So let's say you're just starting out on your alchemical journey and, maybe in the beginning, you just first encountered this idea of alchemy and transformation. So, where do we start? And often people need to start off with, well, life's feeling a little bit hard. That's kind of how a lot of people
Sure.
feel.
Challenges, and that might
Yeah.
be jewelry, that might be talismans, that might be placing a rock or,
Yeah.
the sugar that I mentioned or, rose quartz or those kind of things where those are just like, maybe blocking negativity or negative or
Yes.
EMFs. That's a big thing right now.
But
Or
but maybe you want to move forward from that place
right.
even more so. And that's where these transformer stones come in.
Sure. Well, there's the roadblocks or even emergencies that can
Yeah.
kind of, dictate, is this a quick thing we're looking for? Or is it a more of a slow term? We're
Yeah.
not in a hurry, like the stones, right?
Right.
So
And
yeah,
so these transformer stones, they can help you move through tough times
yes,
or difficulties. They can
yes.
help you orient back to who you truly are, which is what alchemy is all
Which
about.
is so important with stone
Yeah.
medicine. That's why when I work with stones, we have our allies. We have the stones that really connect and can help you manifest things. I don't want to say quicker or easier because they're
Yeah.
not, but they're just it's a different way vibrationally to connect with nature, I feel.
It's actually, these stones are there to help you recognize that even the most difficult things in your life are often part of your road.
Yeah.
And that idea that maybe life isn't worth living if there aren't a few challenges along the
That's
way.
very woody of you, by the way.
Yeah.
That's very woody of
It
you.
makes life
And not
interesting.
boring, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
again, that's where stones come in. I think that
Mhm.
if you like to learn, there's all different ways to learn about stone medicine. It
Yeah.
can be very, very scientific. It can be very much theory oriented, or it can be cute and cuddly or whatever, or it could be really like a combination and trying to get to a deeper connection.
Yeah, and these stones, these transformer stones, when things do get bad, we forget that actually the bad stuff makes life more interesting. So then we feel lost and maybe we reach out for the stones.
Sure, they help us get us back on the road. They're like a little
Yeah,
companion,
they
right?
help us get back on our road and
Yeah.
begin to
I
believe in
believe that. I really
ourselves.
believe that. That's a nice way
Yeah,
of looking at it. And again,
yeah,
it's a simplistic way, but it's the way that we like to think about in the beginning when you're starting out as a
yeah,
way to look for stones. So if you're feeling lost or you feel like you just can't find your way or you've tried everything, maybe stones are there to help you a little bit.
yeah. And those are the first alchemy stones we turn to. They're the ones like the agates and the jaspers. They can help us in tough times to sort out what's true to us and what's not true to
Yeah, I
us.
also like the barrels in the beginning of alchemy
Mhm.
and the first stages of alchemy. They're just such a
Yeah.
powerhouse. My favorites are emeralds and aquamarines and morganite. It's just to name a few. Those are my really good go-to beginning of alchemy, transformation, evolving, all those things. So the barrels are really important.
Aren't they great, the barrels, because they have a lot of that five-element nature to
Well,
them
they're
because the
very colorful.
colors
Yeah,
are very bright, and
yeah.
so you combine them with these other stones that are
So
alchemical
here's an emerald
and
green
yeah,
wood,
yeah.
right? Here's a morganite pink, right? A
Yeah,
little
and for
fiery.
those of you who are, listening to this podcast, by
Where
the
I'm
way,
holding up stones.
uh,
You
we
have a little stone envy.
we do have
Blue aquamarine,
a
right?
video version
Water.
on YouTube for you if you wanna look at the
And I
stones.
believe this is citrine, earth.
Yeah.
And I didn't bring a metal, but I do. My favorite metal for this example is apophyllite, but I don't have one right here. I have one in the office, but So, anyways, and I'm thinking I do have a hematite for black.
There you
So
go.
I think I off the just top of my head pulled 5 stones right here, but I should
Yeah,
have prepared a little bit. Sorry. That was
so
pretty good.
basically what Jay's showing you is a lot of those stones help you be more authentically you, and you combine those stones with stones that are going to help you transform.
Right.
And that is a powerful recipe. And there's even stones that harmonize, and there's stones that kind of help you put together a recipe for your alchemy. So, this is an example of how we use stones in alchemy. Then you can choose how you want to do that. Do you want to wear it? Do you want to put it in your
Yeah.
house? Do you want to drink an
And
elixir?
you can,
Do
here's
you
it.
want, yeah,
I was just gonna say a quick way to do it is for like a week. If you could go to your local store, pick up a few things. Don't get the fancy, expensive ones. Get the smaller, rougher ones, and take a crystal and hold it in the right hand or your dominant hands, as Lita like said. It's the left dominant or the right dominant for the yin and the yang, right, Lita?
yep,
Like, so clarify that, and then take like the morganite and hold it in your hands and just sit and be quiet and meditate.
yeah,
See it, and then the next day, try it with your aquamarine.
yeah,
Right? See if you feel the difference. See if you feel anything.
yeah,
Then
yeah,
try it with your emerald. Like try it with all of your stones if you want to connect it with the 5 elements and see if there's one or two that go, you really connect with it. But the good way to boost it is with just a crystal, like
yeah.
a quartz crystal.
And when we do alchemy stone medicine and we create a recipe and we start getting you on like stage one of alchemy, your journey, part of what it's about is like, let's say you put one of these stones in your pocket, and you
We
throughout
often
the
joke about that.
yeah, throughout the day, you maybe put your hand in your pocket, oh, there's my stone. Then it jogs your memory to remember your authentic
Could be more
self.
mindful. It could be
Yeah.
more quiet. It could be like the vigilant mind, the self talk in the mind, in your mind.
Or it helps you remember the alchemical stage that you're in.
Yes.
So, whatever you're working on that day, maybe you're working on fear. That's the very beginning. How do you reduce the fear in your life? And, or maybe you're trying to work on what do you really want in your life? That's all, these are all stage one concepts. So, the stones correspond to those steps of alchemy, and they're either on your body or they're reminding you
Yes.
this is the journey you're taking right now. This is why we're so excited about Alchemy Stone Medicine, because it's about, believing that this vibration that the stones are offering are going to keep you on track. They're going to help you move forward. Whether you're putting them on your body or ingesting them or whatever, it's these are all the ways that we are interacting with them more deeply and being influenced
And I'm just
energetically
gonna
by what
add
they
to
have to
that.
offer.
I'm gonna add to that, Lita. Vibrational and intentional,
Yeah.
right? To put your intention into the stone and then accept the vibrations. It's like a two-way street with the stone. They don't really ask for anything. They just want to come along on the ride with you. They're not
Yeah.
really, they're just happy of to be there of service.
Uh, and
So
and from there, you can progress with the stones through the stages of alchemy. We talk a lot about how the stones are really helpful in the beginning because, life can feel hard. You can feel like you have a lot of challenges and they can really help with that. After that, they're more like partners. They're more just accentuating whatever you're doing with yourself and helping you remember. They're not as much the healers, but more like a partner or a friend walking the road with you,
on
and
your
it's
healing,
your
yeah,
alchemical journey, and they're just like, yeah, I'm walking along with you, I'm enjoying the ride here with
giving you my
you.
good vibes.
Yeah.
You know,
And so they remind us more and more to be authentically ourselves. They remind us more and more that we're constantly transforming and becoming better and better versions of ourselves.
so they evolve as we evolve.
Yeah.
And you mentioned like stage one of the early stages. So selenite, you can do chaotic energy with a nice. I use this one all the time, so you don't have to get it the exact points,
Yeah.
but you can move it around. Like and get first, you start with the lungs. So we have that class in the learning center. And if you're on that stone medicine journey with us, the Alchemy Stone Medicine program, you'll get that class for free.
Yeah.
And I'll have a list of stones that we're going to go over. And obviously, selenite's definitely one of my allies. So we use selenite a lot for a lot of different things, but it's very good in the beginning. because it absorbs a lot of negativity from the world. And, I just want to say really quickly too, you can wear stones on the inside, like, we always joke about tucking them in the bra, and that's not for the world, that's for you. Or you can wear them on the outside, and it's more the
I
vibration on the
like that.
outside. So you
I
can do
like that.
inner and outer.
Yeah.
So that's your alchemy, a little bit of thought for today. So, I mean, this is like the little tip of the iceberg, even though the iceberg is not a stone, but it's an iceberg, right? On what we love to talk about. But we connect it with the alchemy, with the self cultivation, with your meditation. And that's how you can definitely bring stones into your life.
Yeah.
And it's fun,
Yeah.
right? Fun is not a bad word.
So I hope this is helpful for people to frame sort of what is the alchemy part of Alchemy Stone Medicine and how would we like bring this into what maybe a lot of you who've been listening to this podcast are interested in. I know many of you are interested in alchemy, and it's a wonderful concept to have these wonderful tools that
Yeah.
help us in our lives in ways that help us evolve, help us move forward. And yeah, if you'd like to join us in May, and this is 2025, go ahead. We'll put the link in the show notes and, please join us if you would like. We have a wonderful program set up. It's a 3-month program, and we'll be meeting likely on Tuesdays. And depending on where you are in the world, we'll try to find a time that works for everyone.
Yeah.
And we're excited to have everyone who wants to be there join us.
Yeah, really, really excited about that. And if stones is not your jam, you could still be part of the Learning Center. You could
Yes.
become a member of the Learning
Yes.
Center as a self cultivator or as a practitioner for CEUs and different classes. We have all of that. Plus, we have meditation Monday on Mondays, which for the next couple weeks we'll probably do with stones, just
Yes.
because we all have stones on the brain right now.
Yeah.
And then we also have 5 Element Fridays, which maybe we'll do stones in the 5 Element Friday too, just to keep the theme going
Just to
for
keep
for all the
theme
stoners
going.
out there.
Yeah.
So we
Yeah.
have a lot going on in the Learning Center. And
Yes.
so we hope you join us on this journey because
Yeah.
we're having a lot of fun and we would love to have you and your stones come with us
Yes.
on the journey. So,
Yes.
all right. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Hope you
Bye.
enjoyed the video too. For those of you who can check us out on YouTube.
And if you're driving, don't watch the video.
Yeah.
Just listen to the audio
There you go.
and then go home and watch the video. All right.
All right. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
And go hug your stones.
Yes.
You've been listening to the Inspired Action Podcast, and you've reached the end. Woohoo! Why not celebrate a little bit and click that subscribe button right there? We love having you with us on this journey, and we want it to continue.
You can also rate and review this podcast. And if you have already, thank you so much. We read all reviews, and your reviews help other people find this podcast as well. You can also be a part of this podcast yourself by submitting a voice recording message and emailing it to us at leta@inspiredactionpodcast.com or jay@inspiredactionpodcast.com.
And if you want, you can join our Facebook group or follow us on Instagram.
Join us next week for another Inspired Action conversation. And thank you for listening.
Thanks for listening, and remember to hug the dog.